I quote, "You fall in love with them, they fall in love with you, and when you criticise them, they cry." Now, bearing in mind he was addressing female scientists, needless to say, a lot of the women attending the conference weren't very happy with the remarks. You know, a lot of the press today. What do you think? I'm surprised he even made those remarks, or do you think it was a bit tongue-in-cheek?
Well, his remarks apparently went down like a cup of cold sick. The woman on the radio this morning said she just felt ill and he just ploughed on. I think he's 72, you know, you do get men of this age saying things like that. This isn't, you know, just a one-off thing. It's quite a widely held view. But I also think we've got to get it in proportion. I mean, we have got to just laugh at it. Of course, there's a serious side to it because we want more women to work in science because science earns a fortune for this country. I mean, taking the whole thing seriously, only 13% of the people that work in the science industries and research and everything, only 13% are women, which is a shockingly low figure.
But I think that's what the criticism is, isn't it?
We want to
we're trying to encourage girls
at
to do science.
To take science, to study science at university and to go into the sciences because not only does the country need them, you know, it's a big part of our economy. So his remarks were Neanderthal. They were like something off that dinosaur programme.
I mean, he does say, he's put out a statement since all this hit the press today.
Oh, yeah,
and he
half-assed
says, "I'm very sorry that what I thought were light-hearted, ironic remarks were taken so seriously. I'm very sorry if people took offence. I certainly didn't mean to demean women, but rather I was being honest about my own shortcomings."
His own shortcomings?
But then when I think saying girls burst into tears every time you tell them off, it's really not about him,
I do contest his statement that people have fallen in love with him. Look at his nose. He's got so much nose hair. Like, sorry. But being serious, for me, I think it is very damaging to the profession. I think, you know, for anyone to take these comments seriously, if I was, you know, what do you call it? I don't
Scientist?
know. No. I mean, like, if I was at university at the moment, a female, and wanted to go into the scientific field, I think it would probably make me a little bit wary that this is the contingency between.
Or would it not fire you up? You know, Janet, we grew up in a kind of slightly sexist world, you know, in the early days of TV,
totally
the media, you know, newspapers particularly, and we just kind of learnt to take these things on the chin. I'm not condoning it in any way, but he's 72.
Men fight back and sort of talk about women who complain about this kind of thing. They dub them the feminazis. They're such feminists, they've got no sense of humour, and, you know, they put them down like that. I think women do need to have a sense of humour, but back in the day when we started in Fleet Street, you definitely needed to have a sense of humour because the sexism was just right in your face. But also women themselves are betrayed by other women. You know, I remember working in newspapers and there was always one woman that's simper. One woman that suck up, laugh at all their rubbish jokes. And she was always the one that got promoted.
Always.
Yeah, and she did that hair flicky poo thing. Which obviously I can't do, even trying to do it. I just can't do it.
Traitors to the cause they were.
I don't like the idea that it's only women that cry, you know, like, I mean, we get a lot of, you know, stick and that from being on here or whatever. We're old, we're fat, we're this, we're that. I don't cry, you just take it on the back and you move on with it. But I have to say that on Birds, we had a woman producer that came in one year, and it was probably the most unhappy year that we had. She came in and just wanted to make her stamp on something and change everything, and it was probably the hardest time for all of us. It was just like there was nothing wrong with it. Everyone was fine. We were all getting along really well. Scripts were good. Everything was fine. But they just, for some reason, she wanted to come in and change everything, which didn't need changing. You know?
But it was probably subconsciously for her to, you know, to make her claim, to show that, you know, I'm a woman, I'm capable of making. And sometimes, you know, women do kind of overcompensate for the fact that they're women, and I think we need to have less of these demeaning comments so that we do feel free to flourish in whatever field we go into.
But also, he's not a comedian, he's not a stand-up.
He tried to be.
There's a time and place to make jokes,
he should
and it probably wasn't
us, Linda, and would have had much better jokes. But when I was a boss, funnily enough, I had men and women cry. But if I could... But the worst thing for me was, you could see they're about to snivel. And you think, don't do it in front of me.
No.
You didn't get a tissue out and give it to him then?
I have felt
Yeah,
like it a few
exactly.
times, and I've had a, right old telling off, and I've done that. Don't cry, don't cry, don't
No.
cry, and I've gone, no, absolutely, you're absolutely right. Yeah, I'll take that all on board, and then run to the ladies. There are lots of comments as well. Julia says turning on the tears usually works for me. So you could say it's clever, Janet, turning the tables. Angelo, it's amazing how the slightest thing said about women is deemed sexist, but women can say all sorts of things about men and get away with it. That's because we're loose women, Angelo, and we can say what we like.